All right. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending upon where you are joining from. And yes, this is an interesting topic. Now, could somebody in the chat put whether or not you can hear me? Awesome. Thank you, Christina, and Gia, and Danielle, and Mary, and Catherine, and Amy. This session is about talking in front of people, being asked on the spur of the moment to say, hey, I need you to talk to the board, or hey, I need you to present to these other managers. So it's nothing to be afraid of. I have been presenting for over 20 years, and I found my very first public presentation about a month ago, and I thought, oh my God, how did they ask me back? It was that bad, at least to me, and how I've changed over the years. So, we're going to talk about why we need communication for security, our barriers, theory, views and needs, and how to improve their knowledge, not ours, but how to help everyone. And as I put in the chat, there is a link on, I think it's Dropbox, of the presentation. And I will put that at the end of the presentation also for the additional slides, because I only have 45 minutes. And there is so much more information to get into this presentation. So I added the samples so that you can get everything. So our job really is about communication. Whether it's, in the hallway, in the kitchen, via Skype, via Zoom, via WebEx, emails, text, or those actual planned interactions. We can no longer just hide in our cubes or open spaces, as the case may be. And even though many of us are remote, we still have to communicate. And as we are remote with Zoom and WebEx and these remote communication media, we need to know how to communicate better so that there is no misinterpretation on the other end for the whole audience. With selling security products, well, you're thinking security is not a product. It is a service. So you need to sell it for why they need it. Why does someone need to communicate and learn about security? And when you look for a job or you're networking with someone, you come up with a 90-second elevator pitch that tells someone about you, what you want, what you can do. You do the same thing about security. In the community that I live in, I get calls, Sandy, instead of using Zoom, how can I do our book club remotely? When you're using 55-plus-year-olds, Zoom is definitely not an option. But how can you communicate with everyone? What are the methods that you have available to you? But in business, what do they really want to know? Why do you get invited to those meetings? It's about risk, business risk. What should we do about it? How do we limit it? How much can we accept? And can I trust you? And with trust, is it a balanced answer? You're limiting the risk, but not making us pay tons and tons of operational and capital budget to reduce that risk for the business. So ultimately, it's your credibility in the organization. And you don't have to talk a lot. There are some people that just continue to talk because they like to hear themselves and they don't know what's going from brain to mouth. So how much are they credible? So you need to build that credibility. You need to gain their respect and you need to gain their trust. You need to listen, and that's active listening. Do you ask questions to get clarification? Do you take notes? Whether it's on a computer, I'm the old-fashioned way. I have a tablet because then I can shred my notes. So how do you active listen and remember so that you can come back to that group and say, oh, yes, Mary said this? Or someone has had a child in a soccer game and you see them the next week. Hey, how did the soccer game go? So you're building that credibility because you're remembering what they're saying. You're kind of respecting their space, and you're also trying to build that trust because you are active listening and able to move forward. So you need to build the credit with them and not like acting like Pinocchio. So another way to put it is influence. As much as you might hate to do it, volunteer for projects. Volunteer to be a guinea pig of a project, whether it's for your team or someone else, because then you're going to build your base of support. You may not understand, but you can ask questions to ensure that everybody understands. You can be there to listen. They want to bounce an idea off of you. That's building credibility. That's building your support. Associate with influential people. Well, that used to be go out to the golf club and go out golfing with the guys. Not anymore. It is that elevator speech. It is simply recognizing somebody by name. I didn't know they knew me. Now, could be a bad thing, but you want to promote the good. If you see a CEO, a CFO, one of the C levels, or one of your board members, say hello to them and introduce yourself and what you do. You go into the little kitchenettes or do networking. Carry on a side chat. Build your own image. We have so much social networking out there. Build your image, especially within LinkedIn, with professional groups. You're continuing to build your influence that way, as well as your credibility and getting others to trust you. Now, the obligate to reciprocate, that can be a little bit touchy. You could help somebody, and I have associates and friends and networking that goes back over 20 years. There are times when they reach out to me and I reach out to them to say, hey, do you have a reference for this, or can you point me in the right direction? So do your networking and find a group or a set of people or even one person to create that obligation to reciprocate. Not, remember, I helped you get that job. Now you got to help me get mine. I wouldn't push it that far. And grow your resources. That networking is imperative. Build and follow someone to see whether or not they would help you with your resources. For my increasing my influence and growing my resources, I get lots of requests to link to each other in LinkedIn. Mine is, do I know that person? Have I worked with them? Have I volunteered with them? Have I met them at a conference? What position do they have now? And would they be a good resource for me? And the biggest important one is, did they do an invite? Did they do an invite with a note to say why they wanted to connect with me? Those that just want to connect because they're an account manager, they're selling a product, they are at a university and they're one of the staff members. How do you know me? Why do you want to connect with me? So in growing your resources, make sure your resources are somebody that you can refer to, and in 5 years you won't forget them. And you look them up in your contacts and it's like, where did I meet this person? Be a leader, no matter what you do, even if it is outside of your scope. There are some engagements where I don't know the exact reference. I don't ignore their question or their ask. I'll say, I need to get back to you on that one because I've got to do some research. But just make sure you get back to them. So be a leader, lead by example. These are all how you can build your credibility, your influence in your organization, and also grow your own skill set as you move forward. But there's always barriers when you are communicating. And a lot of them we set up, and a lot of others are in the environment. It is our job to recognize those barriers and find ways around it. So, as a communicator, do you have the credentials? Not even credentials, but the information to be able to relay. And I may have certifications after my name. Most of them I don't use. It is my knowledge and my skill sets that gets people what they want to do. So don't oversell yourself. Be trustworthy and competent. If you don't know something, it is okay to say, I don't know. Let me get back to you on that. Which gets into perceiving you as dynamic, as a leader, and that you can actively perform and help outside your area. Whether you are security, audit, compliance, IT, even marketing or human resources or finance, how well do you help everybody in the organization, and how do others perceive you? Some of them perceive you as sarcastic, but you don't think you are. Pull a friend aside and say, am I really that sarcastic? And if you are, you may want to think about it. Do people invite you for your opinion? Not that you're opinionated, but you listen, actively listen, and respond. That is a good communicator because you are doing both sides and you are overcoming that barrier of communications. Those that have strong accents, a lot of times you will get complaints. I don't understand what they're saying. But it is not that. You are not listening to the words. Leave the accent out and listen to the words. You will get much farther in global conversations, or if you're in a global organization. I love accents because you learn more of other languages and which terms you need to understand and use when you are dealing with another office. So you have to be a communicator and look at some of those barriers. As I keep saying, your listening skills. Don't judge a person by what they are saying. They may be new to the environment. and you hear, I have a dumb question, but, and they go on. No question is dumb if someone does not understand. Even a simple clicking of a link. Those that are older, that are not used to computers, do not understand. Or if you give them a link and a dial-in number, we all know we get the echo. So you need to listen to your audience in how they are phrasing the question, how they are asking it, and do you hear something in that question or feel, if you are an emotional type and go by body language? So, how do you listen? If you do not understand what they have asked, repeat the question back to them in a way you understand. And then if you get that kind of cocked head or, no, that's not it. Make sure that they clarify the question and you understand it before you answer. Because you don't want to be talking like this. Don't dominate the conversation. You need to be respectful and get other people's point of view. As I am talking to clients, I don't know their skill set. I don't know, may or may not know, the level of organization. So I put it down to asking questions and speaking with them at a middle school, freshman year, high school level, not to dumb it down, but to make sure I am using basic business language for the team as they move forward. That way, I know all of the audience will understand, and those that are more technical, hopefully that light bulb's going to go off and say, that's why they want that project. Take notes. Because when I have so many meetings, it's the date, the time, the company or the client names, and then I take notes of the topics. And I star my action items so that as I'm going and as I'm wrapping up, my listening skills now summarize when I close the meeting of, I want to confirm that this, and this is what you want from me, and this is what I'm waiting for you on. That is a combination of your listening, active listening, taking notes, and moving forward. You want to limit that being misunderstood. For those that are in security, I say CIA. Confidentiality, integrity, availability, right? I'm sure somebody's saying, no, that's Central Intelligence Agency. And there are others that'll say, that is the Culinary Institute of America. So if you're going to use acronyms, define them. Don't use the slang. Because word associations and how they are used can be misinterpreted and misunderstood by others. That is why you want to keep things simple. And as the old telephone games used to be, if you are that old like me, that string and two cans on the end or a cup on the end, or when you put a cup up to the wall to hear what's in the next room. It's garbled. So you need to make it simple to be able to move forward and get everyone to understand. So limit being misunderstood. And there's other things that can be part of interference. You're talking about security and all you are using is the term security. Get security out of your vocabulary. Talk about risk. Talk about how what your topic is related to the business. If you use and you have a global audience, find their culture. In Japan, you greet the eldest in the group first. That is a custom. And those of us that are in America, we are judged badly many times as we travel globally. So understand the culture of the business, the culture of your audience, because that will also stop and limit the miscommunications and being understood in whatever you're doing. So now we're going to take that and put a little bit of theory in with it. So you have a clear channel. The quick brown fox. That's the message. The sender, whether they're yelling or talking normally, you can hear that. You can hear every word. And you know what they're saying. That is the ultimate. That clear channel is the ultimate of what you do. How you do it depends upon your methods, what you feel comfortable with, and what the audience feels comfortable with. A lot of people like to use graphics. In international audiences, more graphics and pictures help. Then you don't have to worry about the word translations. But there's also attenuation, where I am going to start sending TLAs to make sure you can get the CIA to accomplish your ISO project. Yeah, right. So that attenuation, they're only getting like everything that you're not using with a 3-letter acronym. So they are missing the goal and the objective of what you are saying. And if you look up attenuation, you will see different causes of attenuation and why your audience does not get what you're saying or meaning. And then there's a lost opportunity where if you are talking to executives and you're giving them the detailed findings of this last audit and not relating it to the business, yeah, they're going to be like this or like this within 5 minutes of your presentation. So you need to set the mood and the objectives so that you do not have a lost opportunity. With a risk assessment, with an audit, with a gap assessment, with whatever project you are doing, what was the goal? How did you accomplish that goal? What were issues? And how did you get it successfully implemented? 4 things. You will lose that attenuation, you'll lose that lost opportunity, and you will now be communicating and connecting to your audience. So your goal is to increase that clarity using simpler words, maybe even slowing down your speech. I have a friend out of Hong Kong that I mentored for years. And every time he got excited, he'd start talking really fast. And with his accent, I couldn't hear him. So all I'd say is, Lance, breathe. And he'd just start laughing and start all over again. Because he was so excited, it took over his communication skills. And when I first met him, he had just gotten his very first security job. And now he's a director of a global team. So over the years, he increased his clarity by getting to the point, speaking in business terms, and understanding the business and understanding his audience, which automatically reduced his attenuation as he was going in with different teams and was talking with management. So you're thinking, oh my God, how am I going to remember all this? It's simple. Just make sure you're comfortable, know your audience, understand their needs or their wants, speak their language. And if it is not a technical audience, use business language. And what you are trying to do with all of those interactions is improve their knowledge, give them guidance or a strategy to move forward. And if you can accomplish that, they're going to walk away satisfied. You're going to get what you need. And everybody's going to walk away satisfied, happy, and with extra money to do what you need. So you need to put it in your terms, though, so you're comfortable. Another example that I had here is the FBI had come to an organization I was working for. They called the executive team together, and the FBI agent presented. I was not part of that meeting. The CIO came down to my office and he goes, I just finished a meeting with the CIO or with the FBI. They gave me this report. Can you tell me what it says? Because I don't understand anything they said. So it's also being able to go on the spur of the moment to read something quickly and put it in business language so they understand. And if you ever have to go to a board of directors or executive team to talk about an incident, forget the FBI, but any type of incident, what happened? How did it impact the business? How can we recover and not let it happen again? And how long is it going to take? Again, back to 4 simple things to communicate to the audience. Now, when you work with IT and security, then you're going to need a few more details. But you want to improve their knowledge to show that you have things handled. So, know your audience. So, we're going to get into the different levels of management and an organization to see how they communicate and what they really want. So you have different points of view. Organizational, how did you previously interact with them? And culture always plays a part. Because if you tell them they're doing wrong, they're going to shut down their hearing. You're blaming me now. So you need to know your audience and how they look at things. Senior management, business management, line management, which is more of the team leads. And then you've got that security, risk, and audit, or you could add IT down there. So senior management, they want the best case. But what is the necessarily evil to get to that best case? And a lot of them, it ain't going to happen here. When we all know, eventually it is going to happen, plain and simple. So you get to business management and they want something positive. How are we going to improve? You are our trusted advisor. But on the other hand, oh my God, you're adding more tasks to me. How am I going to get that done? You're preventing me from selling this widget. So you need to be able to say, how is it going to improve? And you can trust me, maybe by saying, hey, business management, let's tweak this. And all you have to do is check this extra box. One check out of 25? No problem. So it's the point of view and how you present it to your audience. And line management, that's, we got to get this done. Just tell me what to do. And yes, they're thinking, please don't give me much. Please don't give me much. And you are also the preventer of us, line management, completing the job. So again, how can you integrate it into their current processes without adding on more time? So think of creative ways. And of course, the security, risk, and audit people, we are the superheroes. We've got to come in and literally save everybody. We've got to know the situation, know how to get through it, and come out good on the other end. So this is where the other half of our brain, instead of being technical, is how can we get everybody else to also be a superhero in helping us move forward. So we have to know the technical details as well as having those soft skills to schmooze, which I'm not a schmoozer, but I'll do it if I have to. So it may be a skill that you have to try on your friends. Even small talk with some of the executive management, which is sometimes really hard to do, and you absolutely hate it. Yes, I know. But for us to gain that trust, that credibility, and to be able to move the organization forward, we need to learn how to do these and be comfortable with it in that situation. So you won't have to do it all the time. It's just when you need it, can you recall it and bring it to the front? And you're also thinking, okay, she's an extrovert because she can talk, she doesn't know who's in her audience, and she's hitting all levels. I'm an introvert. I have to hide in my house or even my bedroom to get my energy back. So whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, you can do this. Just with extroverts, it's a lot easier than an introvert. With an introvert, it's a learned skill. So just don't jump into it. Just gradually try things as you are networking, as you are talking to others, as you're in the grocery store line is another way to try. If in any conversation you can do the who, what, where, when, why, and how, you have accomplished your goal in getting across the communication. So here are some things that the different leaderships of their concerns and what you need to know that they are concerned with. Executive management, they're worried about that risk and liability. So how can you take and turn your message to relate it to business objectives? If you can do that at the executive management level, you'll definitely go far. So I won't say there's nothing to worry about, but it'll definitely make things easier. Business leadership is worried about those budgets. How many more people? How much more money do I need? So can you convert it to talk to them? It is going to reduce staff time. It's going to reduce your operational environment as well as limit the need for certain people on projects. Oh, I like that. And for line management, what is that productivity? What is your strategy? How am I going to get there? And then the end users are, I ain't doing nothing no more. It's not my responsibility. But if they want to grow, no matter what department they're in, they're going to have to learn new things. And this is where that user awareness and different methods of communication come into play so that they understand the point to move forward. So you have to speak their language. You know, words have power, as we all know. Somebody might say the wrong word or call you something, and that just ruins the whole conversation. So listen to what they're trying to get and ignore if they are using slang or they're trying to put you down. Make sure you focus on the point and the objective of what you are trying to get across. So you have that black box that we talked about, where the audience doesn't have a clue. Now, business likes cause and effect. If we do this, we're going to reduce our risk by X. Or if we do this, we're going to save this many dollars. Or how many customers, that business impact. How many customers are going to be improved by our service? Or impacted if we lose the service? And then that technical. How do you talk to application developers, IT, security, audit, compliance people, even legal people to get your point across? You need to think about what they're saying and asking. So again, the black box, it's just going and it's not going nowhere. The cause and effect, they are getting it. A non-technical audience, it's going to go way over their head and you're going to lose everybody. You're going to see them pulling out their phones and doing the chats and the texts and reading their emails. You really want that cause and effect so that everybody in your audience understands. So here, again, on the slides with how to talk about it. So ideas of to convert your technical lingo into business lingo. But again, you need to know your audience as you move forward. All the way down to the end users. How is this going to benefit me? How's it going to benefit the business? And a lot of times with end users, if it hits their pocketbook at home, so if you can relate network security, controls, just general information security to maybe something physical in the house or with relationships, the users are going to have that light bulb go off. So get what they need to accomplish their own goals moving forward. So every interaction that you have with anyone is an opportunity to learn for you as well as to communicate. I don't care how small the team is, if it's one-on-one, if it's a phone. There are a lot of children that I teach about internet safety. And there are ideas and questions that come up, and it's like, I could integrate that into this client's user awareness training. So no matter the age or the type of group, think about what they're saying and can you use it elsewhere and how can you help them? So improve their knowledges. Understand the business. If you don't know the business, go to one of the business teams and say, can you please explain your process and how you're doing this? I want to understand the information and the application that you're using. They will make time because they're also thinking, I got somebody in security asking me a non-technical question. I'll help them because then I can call them up. So what is that true risk and how can you be proactive? Know the trends. Know the business objectives. Know whether or not something will be good or bad for the environment as you're moving forward. So how can you improve their knowledge? Even if it's a new regulation that's coming out, will it affect us or not? Simple question like that. Just improve their knowledge. And again, an elevator statement is the best way to do it. If you can get that point across in 90 seconds, you could probably go up to 2 minutes. That is the best way to communicate. Mentoring college students, in the very first one I had, he was learning disabled. So it taught me that I have to compartmentalize what I need or what he needed to be able to advance and get into the degree that he really wanted to do, and walk him through a decision process of how to proceed. And those short elevator statements helped him take notes as well as give him a path for decision making in the future. And now he does have a full-time job and he's not graduating until May. So again, repeating, the keys to effective communication. Be yourself is the most important one. You need to be yourself and don't talk in a language that you are not comfortable with. And I mean word language, not German or French or Spanish or Mandarin or Cantonese. In words of being yourself. Use simple terms to communicate. Now, also within the slides, and I know I'm probably going to get cut off, look at the chat for a copy of the slides. If not, reach out to me. These are some oldies but goodies for presentations, for getting a team together. So if you want to put, and here is my contact information, and I'll leave that slide up as the last thing you guys see before I get possibly cut off. Are there any questions that anyone would like to put in the chat? This is being recorded, so you can go back and listen. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can email me, and you can download the slides. So those that are cutting out, I thank you for attending the session, and I hope you got at least one little thing out of this presentation. So I hope everyone has a good day. Thank you.